something a researcher scholar cannot comment. Just think. That we are improving, and I was really very happy when our communication department offered that we can help you, sir, in improving researcher scholar writing. And one of the faculty members, Professor Sangeeta Shukla, she came forward that I would be really helping them and educating them how to write research report. No one, I would say, would have written more research reports than Professor Yaspal. He has been so many committee heads everywhere. His reports are referred in parliament, in institutions, even abroad. This committee report in many, many countries it is referred to when it comes to educational policy and art policy. We have started this amalgamation recently, and what our efforts is that we call our previous batches and the new batch that joins, so that they get to know each other, they get to learn each other, and later on also, whenever anyone presents it or her synopsis or thesis, all others are invited to critique, to give inputs. So that process has helped a lot in bringing, and I'm sure this batch of July 2014 will find a lot of convenience and lot of learning in interacting with their seniors. And sir, let me tell you, it was a blessing in disguise that you got slightly delayed. So we made them sit, one new batch, one old batch, and we asked, learn from each other, get to know each other, and we are not going to introduce. And I don't know, that half an hour flew like anything. So I welcome once again the new batch, which I'm sure will start with great zeal and enthusiasm. And I only want to caution that it shouldn't be only just at the beginning with enthusiasm. You have to keep your motivation and enthusiasm level throughout your research process, throughout you get to. The observation is people start with a peak and then start retarding. So be at constant speed. If at all you have to accelerate towards later part, begin more with absorption and then delve deeper and deeper and deeper. And another thing that very many times I'm asked by those who join fresh, that sir, who can get me the degree fast? Who should be the right? Here I want to caution that a research work, especially for PhD or FPM or EFPM, understand the scholar, you are responsible for that. You get the degree. Your guide doesn't get degree. He will be surely holding your hand wherever you need is there. But please do not start with this notion that guide will work for you and guide can get your degree. It is your work which gets your degree. So understand this very clearly, right in writing. It is you. You are the scholar. It is your responsibility. You will be doing the work. We all are there. Not only your guide, Medtech has got a culture where apart from your guide, you get to any faculty they will have. And we are really proud of that, which many institutions lack. Here, any faculty, they are there. With these words, I welcome you once again, and I am sure right from day one, you will get into the group, and this is your, I don't know, this is your second marriage for maybe 3-4 years, and you keep to it, keep it alive, and go out from Medtech with flying colors. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir. If it's said that research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought, on this thought I would like to request Dr. Amit Sharma to please share his research experience with all of us.
morning to all of you, and thank you for this opportunity. It's my experience that I'm supposed to share with you. And I was thinking, what sort of experience should I share with you? Because it's been good, it's been bad, it's been ugly also. So good, bad and ugly. However, the end result is good. But you will go through a range of emotions when you are going through your PhD work or research work. But to cut a long story short, I will start with just a few points that I want to mention. You know, when I began to think about PhD, that was way back in '91, when I just finished my MPhil, and I nearly finished my PhD, but then I got a job, and I thought PhD was a means to an end, which was a job, and hence there was no need for a PhD. Until 2007, when I registered for PhD and started all over again. The biggest challenge was selection of a topic. Now, you know, one can easily be ambitious and romantic about a topic, but I think the key is not being so. Now, how do you identify a topic which actually attempts to fill a gap in the knowledge? Now, that's easier said than done. People will tell you that, you know, go and read up journals, read a lot of research papers, and chances are you'll be able to find the gap. Now, I did all that for good 2 years, but there I was, back to square one. So I think your guide really is the best source of that piece of information. The other practical source of finding a gap in knowledge is perhaps research papers in good journals. You will find at the end of the paper, they usually mention what are the topics for future research in that area. So that's another source of identification of good topics for research. The other point is, should I do research which requires primary data, or should I do research which is based on secondary data? Now, you know, I was lucky or unlucky to have been born in a family of a researcher. So all my life I have seen people doing research, coming to home, discussing research, and therefore there was a certain amount of revulsion in my mind for research. I didn't like researchers, I didn't want to do research, but then when I started doing it, I really developed an appreciation for researchers, because I realized how difficult it was. Up until then, until I started actually doing it, I used to think that what is this, you know, it's just a copy-paste job. All you need to do is read up a few lines, pick up things from here and there and put it together and you have a paper. Now, as long as you're a glib talker, you will get through. But I think it depends really on your objective. If your objective of research is to make yourself eligible for a job, then yes, it's easy. But if the objective is really to upgrade your skills and knowledge base, then it's not easy. So objectives have to be clearly defined in the beginning itself. Primary data-based research is generally longish, more difficult, and secondary data-based research, I suspect, is easier. Now, my topic is goes on economics, or quasi-economics and HR, and hence, you know, I could actually take data which was pre-existing, which is secondary data. And but still, I ran up into problems all through. The second important thing is the review of literature. Now, how do you do a review of literature? People will ask you to review about 100 research papers. 100 research papers? Absorbing 100 research papers? I couldn't do that. So the way to do it is actually to read the abstract. If you find that it is even remotely related to your topic, then I think it requires investment of time in reading through it. If it doesn't, leave it. So that's one quicker way of doing review of literature. The second thing is that, you know, I divided my review of literature into two parts. One part which dealt with only general research which has happened in that area. And the second part consisted of only those papers which were directly related to the topic of research. So I think there was some method in doing a review of literature, and I think there were about 67 odd papers that I must have gone through. Not too many though. I had asked one of my friends who's an American, and he gave me horror stories about research. He said that he saw a research scholar in his university who had brought books in a wheelbarrow to defend his thesis. So that meant that he brought about 50, 60 odd books and research papers to defend his thesis. So I said, why would he do that? Because the examiners who were going to examine your thesis could ask you a question looking at the references. They will pick up a reference and say, tell me what is it that you picked from here. So I thought, wow, then I probably will never make it. But I think what that did scared me sufficiently to do everything in detail. I just made some. The other important thing is, research method and methodology, two different things. The selection of method is important, critically important. And knowing the theory of that method is more important than the mechanics of that method. That's my experience. Reason I'll give you some evidence to support this statement. In one viva where I was sitting, the examiner asked a simple enough question. He was an IITian. He asked him a question. Tell me, why have you not used method X? Why have you used only method Y? Now what it means is that you ought to know also the alternative methods which could have been used that you have chosen not to use. So knowing the theory of the method and the limitations of the method is critical. And the last point that I can think of is that there's one suggestion. I think it will be really great